Open the phones up in the next segment on the Food Safety Act passing the Senate. Will it pass the House? This thing is so draconian. It's a complete open ticket for the federal government to do whatever they want. It's just a license to engage in total authoritarian domination. Same thing that they're trying to pass with this Copyright Act that openly says the federal government can shut down any website they want, no judge, no jury, no nothing, no appeal. It's just the end of law. I want to get your take on the economy. I want to get your take on all these other things that are happening. But first, I want to play a video that is so extremely powerful, and we're going to do that after the break. And the article that has the video posted in it is Americans are willing to trample on one another to get their hands on cheap foreign-made plastic garbage, even as the United States turns into a post-industrial wasteland. From the American Dream blog, we have it again posted on prisonplanet.com in the commentary area. And they point out what is evident to anyone that understands what's happening, that Americans, on average, have turned into blobs, have turned into people that see themselves as like being children who just follow government rules, and that life is all about satiating our bellies, our sex drive, our lust for entertainment. But if you study the different psychological indexes that have been done in the surveys, people are more unhappy than ever. If life is nothing but entertainment and sex and drugs and grazing, a type of twisted hunter-gatherer modern version of hunting and gathering, where people just go to malls and just buy things to buy it. You ever seen a child who really wants a toy when they're reading a catalog, and when you get them the toy, they're excited, they open it, they put it together, and never touch it again? But then toys where they have to be creative, like Legos or painting or erector sets, they never get tired of those. But the big, fancy, flashy toy, they don't use it. And it's the same thing with video games. I'm not attacking people that play video games. I played my fair share in, junior high and high school. It's just there are more important things to do in the real world. And when we only get obsessed with false reality, they have all these big video games, these communal games, where there's millions of people playing them at one time, where people pay real money for a Ferrari. They pay real money for a girlfriend. They pay real money for a mansion in cyberspace, and people get obsessed with it. People get totally preoccupied with things that don't matter, and while they're obsessed with the video games, they're not going out and finding a mate. They're not planting a garden in the backyard. They're not looking at the meteor showers. They're not looking at the moon. They're not fishing. They're not visiting their grandmother in the nursing home. They're not involved in the real world. They're being sucked into the corporate, manufactured, Hollywood death machine that's killing our culture, to the point of a lot of people can't even get upset by the TSA sticking their hands down their pants. And it's just that simple. I was talking to a psychologist yesterday, off air, and they were pointing out that people are in a trance. If you study the brain waves of the average Westerner, going back over the last 50 years, the brainwave activity is much lower. It's not just chemical with the fluoride and the GMO foods and all the rest of the poisons. When you watch television, it's not interactive. It's one way. And the brain stops connecting new synapses, and the brain waves lower. The same thing happens with video games, even though it's semi-interactive. And the brain waves begin to lower in people that watch multiple hours of TV a day, by the end of a, say, 2-3 hour television session where you catch yourself in a trance and drooling, your brain waves lower not just into a sleep mode. You're literally mesmerized sleepwalking. This is a fact. You are now in a oxygen-starved level that people rarely have in deep, deep sleeps. You are now in a near-death experience. That's mainstream news. So many adults now are unable to even communicate. That's why when you talk to them and you bring up an issue, it seems like they're in a trance. They are in a trance. We'll be right back. We are back live, ladies and gentlemen. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. We'll take 7 or 8 of your calls the time we have left here with your questions, your comments on all that's happening. I've got some other news I want to hit on as well. But I saw a video embedded in this article. Americans are willing to trample on one another to get their hands on cheap foreign-made plastic garbage, even as the United States turns into a post-industrial wasteland. And the video put out on this YouTube channel is very powerful. It's SGT Bull 07 is the channel, but that's hard to remember. The name of the video is The Madness of a Lost Society. And I watched quite a few of the videos on this channel today. I thought they were very impressive. And this person really has a way with words to crystallize complex issues simply. So I say bravo to the director and the person that is putting these videos together. Keep up the great work. Let's go ahead and also want to make sure that we post this video by itself on Infowars.com, The Madness of a Lost Society, so it's easy for folks to find it. I know it's on Prison Planet, but halfway down the page, buried in an article. I want to get this up for everybody, but here is the video and the audio for radio listeners, and it really illustrates what's happened to our society. But if you are just a radio listener, not a PrisonPlanet.tv viewer, I suggest you do go to PrisonPlanet.com, link through to this video, and watch it. Because seeing people rioting and climbing over each other to get cheap Chinese slave goods, they should be getting physically involved in the streets taking our country back. And he also makes the point of, if this country goes the way of Argentina, and that's where we're headed, can you imagine how these folks are going to burn down every major U.S. city demanding their welfare checks? Wow, great voiceover, great material, great information, great video selects. And I know there are millions of people out there who can even top that can top what I'm doing. Recently, one of the biggest newspapers, magazines in the country was here for a big cover story they're doing in February. And they asked where I want to go in the future. I want to be able to see so many other people more articulate, more focused, more skilled than I out there fighting the globalist that I can literally quit and shut all this down. That's my goal. I don't want to be doing this. It is invigorating, it is empowering, it's also exhausting. And if there were 10, 20 other people who were as well-spoken, focused, dedicated, and who weren't infighting with each other, I would quit. I'd be gone. I would literally transfer my entire operation to someone better than I. Now, sure, that's a great video, and on that channel there's a whole bunch of well-done videos. And that's that individual, obviously probably in their part-time. They've got to work, whatever their profession is, putting that material together. But all of you could do what they've done. All of you could try to get to a point, make a film, get the funding to quit your regular job and be a full-time info warrior. You could do it. And I have looked. I've tried to look for other leaders. I've tried to have other people on air and build them up. I've found people that aren't mentally ill, who aren't in this to be stars, but not that many. Most people that get into this fight against the New World Order at a prominent level are egomaniacs. And they're completely obsessed and jealous of who I am and what I do. When I have a pretty low view of myself, it's hard getting up here and talking for 3 hours a day and staying focused and being articulate. I don't have teleprompters. And it's scary. It's one of the most frustrating things out there that I'm the best there is. People take my confidence, my anger, my commitment, my focus as ego. It is not ego. My ego has been crushed. It has almost completely evaporated in really realizing what we're up against. Knowing they're poisoning our food and water, knowing that we're going into pure tyranny. I mean, I'm not thinking about people thinking I'm cool at a restaurant. Or getting to hang out with Hollywood people. I guess it's because I've done it that I realize that I don't even want to say it's not fulfilling, because a lot of these people I've met are cool and enjoy freedom, and I like them because of that. But it's people that think that if they were rich, if they were powerful, if they ran in powerful circles, that they would be fulfilled. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is not fulfilling unless you're standing up for widows and orphans. Unless you're standing up for the truth, unless you're standing up for human dignity. I really am upset about the neurological disorders off the charts, the diabetes off the charts, the poisons in the vaccines. I empathize when I see adults at a Walgreens lined up with their kids, shooting them up with vaccines. I actually say something to them. I was sitting there at Thanksgiving, and there was a bunch of family over in East Texas, and I had to hear about how they had the vaccine pushed on them at the store, and so they went ahead and got it. And I had to sit there and warn that family. And, you know, I had to sit there and hear them kind of go, oh, the government wouldn't hurt me. And I had to say, really, like all the people they shot up with syphilis? You know, grow up, man. You think I'm sitting here telling you this for fun? I've been sitting here for hours at Thanksgiving and haven't even talked. I don't particularly need to sit here and show off for you. When somebody's warning you about something, it doesn't mean they're trying to act like you're stupid. I'm trying to warn you. I didn't say it like that. I just said, listen, you better look into what's in those shots. The real response would have probably been to just turn the entire table over and say, research vaccines. Stop killing yourself. If you saw somebody rushing out in front of traffic on an interstate highway and they wouldn't listen to you or standing out there about to be run over, wouldn't you go push them out of the way? And if they tried to get back out in traffic, you'd probably have to go ahead and punch them. I mean, you know, we've got to start recognizing these attacks for what they are, hardcore and serious, man. We've got to really get serious here. This isn't a game. And I've tried to build up so many people. I've tried to have other people on the show and build up their radio shows and their websites. And in almost every case, they like make stuff up about me and flip out and try to attack, thinking if they could do something to me that they'd then be big stars. And they never produce any real material or work. And they just ninny and fight with each other. And we have no future if we don't beat these globalists. I mean, the globalists are able to beat us because we are those slobs trampling each other at Walmart and Target for crud. Let me tell you, if they had a video, you know, with David Rockefeller admitting he's a eugenicist and then he wants to kill us, I'd be in line for a week with a tent trying to get in the door to get the video to make sure it got out. But I mean, standing there in line, desperate. I can see people standing in line ready to fight each other over land grants, being given thousands of acres. You know, in the past, when the federal government got land, they said, here, come take it, because they knew the people would make wealth on the land. Now they don't want you to have land. They don't want you to have wealth. They want you to be dependent on them. They will trample and they will fight each other over junk that breaks as soon as they take it out of the box. Like they're finding their salvation in those stores. And I'm not saying buying things and selling things is bad. I'm saying worshiping it, having it as the ultimate thing in your life, and then not caring about the really serious things in life is destructive. You know, some woman running out and going, woohoo, I got it. I got in front of people. I got $10 off on the Chinese slave goods. All right, I said I'd take your calls, and I'm ranting. It's just, a lot of people see the bad in humanity, and they give up on humanity. And they hate their fellow man. And the elite see us as fat, stupid, dumb people, and they want to kill us. And I want to build people up. I want to reach out to folks. Just because other people are cruddy and bad doesn't mean that I'm going to be cruddy and bad. I want to try to lift people up. I don't want to give up on our species.